Welcome to my Envi block cleanup video. I made this video to show you the difference between Envi block firewood ash and split log firewood ash. During this process we're going to burn 3 cords of split logs and then we're going to burn 3 cords of Envi blocks. In both of them I will vacuum and shovel and collect any debris from the different ashes that we have. This is cord 1. It's all maple, mostly from tree limbs. There is some tree trunk here. Primarily this is it wasn't that big of a tree, so there's going to be a lot more bark versus the core of the wood in this cord. This is cord 2 and 3. You only see one cord here, but behind this cord is another cord. So I'm losing 9 feet wide and 8 feet deep of space on the back of my deck just to try to keep enough firewood. The vacuum I'm using here is a cheetah vacuum. It can handle some minor hot ambers. As I vacuum, one thing you'll notice is on the split firewood ash, it's a lot thicker flakes. I'm not talking about the coals. And those flakes build up as you vacuum, and you can see how they ball up and clog the vacuum. I'll often have to tap the end of the vacuum, forcing them in. And you'll see this periodically throughout this vacuuming. This is due to the quality of material. Now, it is wood, but when you're using that tree bark versus the core of the wood, this is some of what you get. And you'll see the difference in the ash. So one thing you'll see here is we got a bunch of coals left over. If you have this, don't throw them out. Save them. You're going to build your next fire on these coals. They do reignite and they do help your next fire. The coals are left over because the wood I was using may have not have been fully seasoned, and these are pieces that did not burn efficiently. They're going to be left over. You always want to leave like a ½ inch on your base to build your next fire. What you see here is white mold. Sometimes you'll find green mold or black mold. This firewood was covered at the top just to keep the rain off, but I guess there wasn't enough airflow at the top, and this is something that's quite common if you overcover your firewood and don't leave enough airflow. Now the debris you see here is from about 4 pieces of firewood. They're 4 or 5 pieces. And this is typical of the mess that people hate and what winds up on your floor and your spouse is complaining about. Now we got some real pretty colors in this fire. Now you see these green flames in here. And what that is, it's actually rubber from I think some Cat 5 cabling or phone wire that I did spot some in other pieces of wood. I must have missed this one. This is pretty toxic. When you're outdoors and you smell something funny burning in your fireplace, like a melting, typically this may be it. Very toxic to breathe in. If you're burning this in your fireplace, in an open fireplace, not something you want to be around. This is pretty common in firewood. The rubber from the fence where a tree grows around the fence, or maybe somebody hung a wire on a tree and the tree bark grew around it. Not a good thing to have in your fires. Now this is pretty common to find nails and other debris in your firewood. These type of contaminants do exist in the wood, and typically if you're shoveling your fireplace out you may not find them. If you are vacuuming you find stuff all the time. I am collecting this debris and we'll show it at the end of this cord. This is the other type of contaminants I refer to, carpenter ant or termite damage. These insects release their feces into this wood, and if you're burning in a fireplace, you could be breathing that in. Also, if there's anything as far as carpenter ants in this wood, they do come back to life once the temperature gets warmer. They're in a dormant state, they do not die, and they will be running around your home. Hear that sizzling? That's Long Island. This is firewood typically found on Long Island. This is all moisture coming out of wood, all steam. This piece advertised as seasoned, but this is typical firewood, not seasoned. This is all the moisture coming out here. This is not a seasoned wood. This is what you find here in Long Island. You can't even see, they're not even dried out. You can't even see cracks in this wood. They're not dried out. Look at this. All the steam in here. Stove cleaning number 6. So this is a good example of semi-seasoned or green firewood. This piece has been in here for a while, and you can see how it doesn't have a flame, but it's burning slow. It's kind of just burning away, smoking, more of small ambers. If this wood was seasoned, especially with a piece like this glowing, you would have more of a flame, not just a glowing amber attached to the wood. But you see the black charredness to it. That's what happens. It's kind of a waste almost. You're certainly not getting the heat value out of this piece. The Envi blocks come in handy because if you do have wood like this, you can mix in the Envi blocks or your NV8s, which will produce a good flame, and that flame would help offset the steam and the moisture that's in this wood and burning it, to help burn it. Okay, so we're on cleanup number 8 here, and according to the stove recommendation, you should clean this stove halfway up on the lip. We didn't do that. We let the ash rise all the way up to the top of the lip. So although we had 8 cleanings, this really would be 16 cleanings that we would have to have done. When we do the first coat on the Envi block, we're going to run it the same way. And we're going to go on to our second coat.